I can't believe it's about to be the end of January. We are running through January like this. So, this is your cue to get started if you still haven't started on that thing that you said 2026, new year, new me. Get started on it. Hey, my love, and welcome to Made for Influence. I'm your host, Juliet Olabanji, and you are definitely welcome here. Grab a pen, grab your notes, your journal, maybe a cup of tea, and let us talk today about the thing that a lot of people experience, but they haven't quite resolved, and they're probably looking for ways to resolve it. So, today we're talking about drowning in open loops. We're going to be going through the neuroscience of what it means to be mentally overloaded. If you stick with me for the next 10 to 12 minutes, I'm going to show you how the heaviness you feel because you're drowning is costing you at a neurological level and how to solve it, or maybe even what actually solves it. A lot of us have experienced this, maybe during a season of our life or during transition. Or maybe right now, you have 37 open incomplete tasks in your working memory, and your brain was designed to only hold 7. This is not about organization or disorganization. This is about running a system that violates your cognitive architecture. And it's costing you more than you realize because you're not present with your family, you're not present with yourself. The part of your attention is stuck in that thing that you forgot to do or the things that you haven't completed. You're making decisions with depleted executive function because your prefrontal cortex is exhausted. This is costing you heavy, and you probably even haven't realized it. You're living in constant low-grade anxiety because your nervous system can't distinguish between forgetting a, let's say, dentist appointment and actual danger. Your brain doesn't really know the difference. The mental load isn't a personality trait. It is a structural problem. It's not because, oh, I'm a disorganized person. No. Issue number one that you're experiencing but you haven't put a name to is the Zeigarnik Effect. The Zeigarnik Effect is hijacking your cognitive capacity. So, in 1927, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik made an observation that explains why you can remember 17, 18, 19, 20 things that you haven't done, but you forget the conversation that you just had. It's not because you're forgetful. No. This is what she found out. She noticed that waiters could remember complex unpaid orders perfectly. But the moment the bill were settled, the bill was paid, it vanished out of their memory. This told her something, that the brain prioritizes incomplete tasks. And this is now what is known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Here is what that means for you. Every promise you haven't fulfilled, every idea you haven't captured creates persistent cognitive activation. Your brain literally cannot stop thinking about it until it's resolved. So it's not that you're carrying 37 tasks. No, it's that you are running 37 background processes that are draining your mental battery even when you're not consciously thinking about them. Here is where it gets expensive. Your working memory, the mental workspace where you process information and make decisions, it has a limit. It has a capacity. As soon as you exceed that capacity, you don't just lose efficiency, you lose cognitive capability. The tasks that you're holding in your head aren't just sitting there passively. They are actively consuming the mental resources that you need. Maybe for strategic thinking, for creative problem solving, for executive decision making, and so on. So when you sit down to work on something that matters and your brain feels foggy, you're trying to remember, that is not lack of focus. That is because you're going bankrupt. Cognitive bankruptcy. Your working memory is maxed out before you even begin. You're trying to run high capacity operations on a system that is already overloaded. When I found this, I was like, wow, this actually applied to more than just tasks. I found a powerful application of this Zeigarnik effect than just the daily tasks. This applies to unscheduled goals and procrastinated desires. The book that you've been meaning to write, the business that you've been meaning to plan or launch, the vision that you have that is still being shelved. Maybe you've told yourself that, oh, I'm going to do this, but that was 3 years ago and you still haven't actualized it. Those aren't just ideas. They are identity level open loops. And they have created a heaviness that no amount of task management can resolve. Let me put it this way. The unscheduled goals that you had or that you still have but haven't worked on, they create deeper cognitive activation because they are identity attached. If you say to yourself, I want to write a book, that isn't just a task. It is who you believe you're supposed to become. And then your brain treats the gap between your current self and your future self as an unresolved tension. Unscheduled goals and desires and visions, they are also emotionally loaded. Procrastinated desires carry shame. It carries a sense of guilt and even self-judgment. So they are not just taking space cognitively, they are carrying emotional weight. The last thing I would say about unscheduled desires and goal is that they are less defined. Your brain works harder to hold on to this ambiguous goal because there is no concrete tasks around them. For example, let me say, I'm going to email Julie. That is a clear, complete point. I know when to start, when to stop. But when you say, launch my business, or I'm going to launch my business, there's no complete cycle and loop around that because there is so much in between. So your brain works endlessly. Your brain works in cycles trying to define what done even looks like. Let me give you one more so that you can really understand what it's costing you. Unscheduled desires compound over time. Let's say you forgot your doctor's appointment. You can reschedule that one. It eventually gets resolved. But an unscheduled dream from 2020, from 2019, that has been creating cognitive activation for years. Since then. So when you are carrying unscheduled goals and procrastinated desires, you are not just managing working memory overload. You are managing cognitive dissonance. There's a gap between who you are and who you intend to be. Chronic activation. Your brain is trying to solve something it can't even define. You're also, in a fragmented identity fragmentation, multiple versions of yourself existing simultaneously. The current you, the future you, the one that the you that has been disappointed in the current you. That is identity fragmentation that weighs on you. And this is the difference between I forgot to send an email, which is a minor loop, and I am 40 and I'm still incomplete. I haven't done things that I said I would do when I was 20. That is an existential loop. Your brain doesn't just want to remember, the doctor's appointment. It wants to close loop between who you are and who you are supposed to be. Your brain is really trying to resolve that identity seal. So, solution 1 is that you complete the cognitive loop. We talked about Zeigarnik Effect. The Zeigarnik Effect releases when your brain perceives that the task is handled. When you start something and you finish it and it's complete, done, you don't have to even bother about that anymore. It captures in your system, it registers in your mind. When your brain perceives that, it's done and it also is captured in a trusted system, you start to build confidence in yourself. And that is why I created the Rooted Productivity Planner. It is a structure that is neurologically built to help you create a system. The Rooted Productivity Planner has proven itself over and over again because of the neurological foundational structure that releases more energy to your brain. I call it the master task library. Let the Rooted Productivity Planner be your single source of truth that tells your brain, oh, I've got this. Yes, I've finished this. I've completed this. Now you can let this go. Let's focus on making executive decisions. When you capture the open loop in the right place, the persistent cognitive activation stops. Your working memory capacity returns. When you write down in your Rooted Productivity Planner, these are the things that align with my identity and the person that I'm becoming, and I've completed this. It resonates with your brain. It resonates with your soul as well. Stop carrying around with you what you can delegate to Rooted Productivity Planner. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us on your listening platform. Leave a comment down below and make sure you send this to 2 of your friends. This is definitely helpful and it's a timely message since we are just starting off the year strong. I would love to connect with you. Connect with me on TikTok and on Instagram, Juliet in Frame. You can also learn more about my services at themadeorg.com. Themadeorg.com. And to start delegating and closing those mentally charged tasks, make sure you get your Rooted Productivity Planner. Thank you again for listening. I'm your host, Juliet Olabanji, and this is Made for Influence podcast. Bye-bye.